If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love.
Welcome everyone to the second annual BLM Seacoast Excellence Awards. I am Tanisha Johnson, co-founder and board chair of BLM Seacoast.
I'm Sanaya Bolton, the co-director of the BLM Seacoast Youth Division, and we're your hosts for the evening.
So Sanaya, what's Black Excellence?
Black Excellence is celebrating the achievements of our people in the community. It is celebrating our amazing abilities to succeed in a society built for us to fall.
It's also our ancestors' wildest dreams, and it's what we strive for each and every day. We are Black Excellence. And BLM Seacoast is proud to honor those in our community who are leading the path of change.
We're here at Somersworth Career Institute recording the show, and we want to express our gratitude to them for allowing us to record here. Also behind the scenes producing is our co-founder and executive director, Clifton West Jr.
We have an amazing night ahead of performances, interviews, and of course, our award winners.
If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else.
We're here at the Block Collaborative with Anthony, who is the owner of this amazing dance studio. So Anthony, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah, so the Block Collaborative is located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We're right on the seacoast. And we are primarily dance, but we are an art studio just trying to bring everyone together. So we do different types of things, not just dance, but we also have some cast members from a show that was actually made here at the Block. And we're going to do a dance for you today.
Oh, we are so excited to have him a part of our BLM Seacoast Excellence Awards. Here we go. BLM Seacoast is proud to present Sanaya Bolton with the 2022 Excellence Award. Sanaya Bolton is an ongoing sophomore attending Exeter High School and is currently the co-director of the BLM Seacoast Youth Division. She is known for her strong aspiration within equal rights and involved in many initiatives working to increase racial justice and diversity within her community. She has completed many projects and writings and hopes to educate others and will continue her devotion to achieving equity and inclusiveness for all communities, while still continuously being involved in promoting representation for people of color everywhere. She hopes to continue long-term change, intersection, and education for youth. Please welcome my daughter, Sanaya.
If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else.
Thank you. I grew up in eastern Pennsylvania, so as a young black female, you can imagine the cultural differences I've seen while living in Exeter. And after analyzing what I had viewed as I became a young adult while attending the primarily white school I go to, I came to recognize that there was much needed work, not only within New Hampshire, but within the world. So with this growing interest and my inspiration from my mom, my passion for this self-empowerment and activism began. Something that I recognize the pandemic has gifted me is probably my activism and participation throughout civil rights. I was always intrigued by topics as such and easily willing to learn about whatever subjects, but I never truly did something about it until now. And with this further involvement, it has opened up my mind to how the world really is. This can be seen by many different views, but as I grew up, I quickly recognized the division between races and discrimination was taught as if it no longer existed. I almost believed that I wasn't going to have to deal with microaggressions and oppression because of my skin. I didn't even know I was already living through those things. But after seeing all these victims of police brutality and better understanding political stances in Black history, I truly recognize that this world is never going to change unless everyone does something. When the world stood up and said Black Lives Matter, it changed for me how I viewed activism and my impact to that change within my community. I realized that I had influence and I wanted to use that power. Soon I became the co-chair of the BLM Seacoast Youth Division, continuing my journey throughout the world. Receiving this award today reminds me of how grateful I am for all the achievements the BIPOC community have accomplished today. Though there is some work that still needs to be done, how far we have come and continue to go is something mesmerizing. This award means celebrating the excellence within ourselves and what we have successfully overcame after hundreds of years of fighting for equal rights for all marginalized groups. Without having the opportunity to acknowledge and learn from the mistakes of the past, how do we expect not to repeat them? We cannot tell our future to be better humans without them knowing what that means. Education is crucial to this. When the younger generations begin to take over positions of power, they need to be enlightened about these difficult topics in order to create that change. Breaking down the system inside and out with the ongoing leaders, I believe, will be the success we are looking for. Until the racist social construct is removed and people within the higher power act, nothing can be accomplished. Teaching ourselves and others about these situations and learning how this impacts every single thing is what's most important. Creating an intersectional community for women of color and advocating for them is something I greatly stand for as well. Within the future, I will continue to fight for justice and promote the education of youth all throughout my community. I will use this award as inspiration to continue my work, and I am more than appreciative of this award, and I thank BLM Seacoast for giving me this opportunity to have the platform. Thank you.
BLM Seacoast is proud to present Robert Richard Snipes with the 2022 Excellence Awards. Robert was originally born in North Carolina, and he grew up in various places in the world with his mother, who was in the Navy. For the majority of his adolescence, he grew up in Norfolk, Virginia. He came to New Hampshire in 2012 to run track at UNH and soon learned that diversity was not something that this state had much to offer, or so it seemed. He studied political science and women's studies and began to pursue leadership opportunities within student organizations that focused on diversity and inclusion. This led him to become really passionate about community work and serving those who might be most marginalized. While obtaining a master's in community development, he began working at SOS Recovery community organization as a quality improvement coordinator. Being able to bring diversity and representation into a field that has historically left many out of the conversation is something that really gets him out of bed each morning. While he's not working, you can most likely catch him at the local CrossFit gym complaining more than working out. Please welcome Robert.
You don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else.
I'm really humbled and honored to be recognized here today amongst so many great and inspirational people doing amazing work. When I reflect on what it truly means to cultivate and support diverse communities, it brings me back to my own personal experience of celebrating my true authentic self. Coming to New Hampshire from the South, to say I was othered on arrival was an understatement. For a while I thought this place had nothing to offer in terms of diversity, but I soon learned that wasn't the case.
You don't love yourself, you
While at UNH, I was able to oversee the Diversity Support Coalition that focused on celebrating and sharing the various cultures that made up our community. Being able to help cultivate young leaders in this community brought me so much joy. I was also privileged to study under some amazing scholars in the Women's Studies department that helped me better understand system of oppressions, societal constraints, and how to create change in the face of diversity. Strengthening familial bonds, building closer community ties, and educating those along the way is what I strive to do in my day-to-day work. Working in the recovery field, I feel that the principles of harm reduction and diversity are at their core the same: radical self-love for those in our community. The recovery field has long been dominated by Anglo-centric ideologies, and the war on drugs was a war on the Black community. Although African Americans only make up 12.5% of drug users, 33% of those incarcerated for drug crimes are Black. Why the misrepresentation here? Why is it that Black patients are 77% less likely to be prescribed Suboxone and instead put on a more stringent regimen of methadone? This regulation of Black bodies is nothing new, but we as a community are here to change that. Healing this trauma and adapting practices that better meet the needs of our community is what keeps me motivated to do this work. Recognizing and supporting each other's diverse backgrounds, different life experiences, and overall personal autonomy is how I believe we can authentically start making a social reckoning. It is my hope that by raising visibility within SOS and in our community, that we can better embrace the Black communities and heal the wounds that the war on drugs have inflicted on us. We need to place Black leaders in positions of power, support development of programs that focus on serving the marginalized, and fund initiatives that directly impact those in our community. I hope that by continuing to build partnerships between organizations like BLM and SOS, that we can inspire a new generation that will continue to make change in our community. Thank you.
Originating in January of 2021, the Black Lives Matter Seacoast Youth Division was created and currently managed by youth within New Hampshire Seacoast. I am one of the current co-directors of the chapter, sided with Yasmin Salerno, a junior at Phillips Exeter Academy. As a division, we aspire to dismantle racial injustice and prejudice throughout the Seacoast community and further educate youth on equity, leadership, diversity, and more. With our goals of initiating change within the community and supporting POCs, we regularly hold panels, social events, and help at many different events throughout the area while we complete other projects finalized by our organization. Inevitably, we hope to grow in an accepting environment and educate members throughout the Seacoast of all ages. In order to join, we can be contacted through our Instagram, username being at BLM Seacoast YD. Here, our link tree can be found, which contains a questionnaire to submit that we directly receive and review, allowing anyone to join. We can be reached through our email as well, youth.division@blmseacoast.com.
I have the honor of sitting here with Leroy McGee today. He is the recipient of our BLM Seacoast Business Owner Excellence Awards. Leroy was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. His parents relocated to Boston from Alabama in the mid-1960s in search of greater opportunities. After graduating from Jamaica Plain High School in 1987, he went to the local number 12 Plumbers Union. He obtained a journeyman status and worked on several different jobs during the Big Dig. His family owned rental properties and managed those properties with his father and brother. After an unexpected life-changing event, he decided to leave the city and head north to New Hampshire for some rest and regrouping. He had been to Portsmouth and the Lakes region several times with his father as a young man, and he really liked the area. So he settled in Portsmouth in the spring of 1996 and met his amazing wife, Teresa. He relocated to Somersworth and moved in with Teresa and her children. And after working a few years in the building trades, he went to Empire Beauty School to obtain his cosmetology license. He had been going back and forth to Boston for precision haircuts because he wasn't able to find anyone here in this area who had the ability to groom African American hair. So he saw a need with a great business opportunity and graduated from Empire Business School in 2002 and began his career as a stylist at the brand new Dover Supercuts shortly after. The goal was to work there for 5 years and build a clientele that would support his dream of owning and operating a salon, his own salon. And he had been blessed with achieving that goal and have owned and operated Leroy Styles LLC at 59 High Street in Somersworth for 15 years. They raised 4 inspiring humans in Somersworth and continue to prosper and thrive within the diverse community. So let's chit chat.
Hi.
Hi. Tell me about your salon. Tell me about your business.
Well, I run a pretty diverse business. I can do anybody's hair. I like what I do. Living in Somersworth, it's given me the opportunity to be diverse because it's a very diverse community in New Hampshire. I just love doing hair.
So
You
why
know.
Somersworth? Of all the places you could have picked coming from Massachusetts.
Again, it's pretty, it was a little blue-collar town, you know, blue-collar, and everybody liked football here. So it was pretty easy. Yeah, so it was a good opportunity in Somersworth. Actually, I looked all over the Seacoast for a business front when I was getting my shop together. Dover, Rochester, Portsmouth, and it just was a no-brainer. When I walked in there, it was a no-brainer, and it was like, this works. And I've been here forever. My kids went to school here, and it just worked. You know, life was pretty good, and it still is good, actually.
How was the community receptive in opening up a salon for diverse clientele?
Very receptive, very, very receptive. Yeah, I mean, I've had really I've been pretty blessed. God has blessed me, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've been a great community. It really is. Without this community, I have no Leroy Styles. And that's just the way it is, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So let's go back a little bit, and I know we had talked about in your, just going along with your history, you saw a need to open up a salon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Well, there was nobody, still nobody.
Still nobody here, yeah, right?
In the area that does African American hair, and that's important. You know what I'm saying? Being in we're professionals and we need our hair done just like other people, quality, and that's important. And just being able to share what I know with other people and help even minority people who don't have the skill set to take care of their hair. So it's been rewarding for me to help people maintain their hair and their locks. And
Have you always done hair? Was it, younger, cutting hair?
I was a plumber,
Uh-huh.
a union plumber. When I graduated out of high school, I was a union plumber, and I did that for just about 10 years, and I worked hard, and I got tired of being a plumber, you know what I'm saying? And I just changed careers, Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went from no hair experience, and now
No,
you're doing
well,
men's, women's.
Yeah. Well, I had my grandfather was a barber.
Okay.
So he knew how to cut hair. I really didn't hang out because he lived in Alabama, but my father had a salon, but he didn't cut hair, but he owned a salon.
Okay.
So it's been in my family.
Oh, okay.
So, and I just decided one day that I didn't want to be a plumber anymore. You get to a certain age and it's like, I can't do this for another 10 years. And, and so it was time to change gears, and the best thing I did. Yeah.
What were some of your successes?
As for
Your salon, your business?
my family, success to me is pretty simple. I thrive being in downtown Somersworth financially. Well, I do all right, you know what I'm saying? I have people that have been sitting in my chair for 20 years and they don't want to go anywhere else. And I have a lot of support. I remember when they tore up downtown, and for like 3 years there was no traffic, but Leroy is still standing. Have great support throughout the community. So, it's been rewarding for me, very, very rewarding for me to be in this community.
Did you have any challenges as a Black business owner in New Hampshire?
Not, if they are, they they didn't slap me in my face.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's been, primarily any business challenges that anybody has, but nothing just because I'm a Black man that I've had a difficult time trying to, I don't even advertise. So life was pretty good, okay?
I think I read an article that came out about you a couple of years ago, and it said you donate to fundraisers and you have,
Yes.
fundraising events.
Yes.
And why is that important to you?
You have to give back. I think giving back to the community and, just trying to be a great human in general is what you do in life, you know what I'm saying? So supporting nonprofit organizations is a healthy thing for your soul. So, yeah.
So what would you tell an individual of color who is trying to start a business here in New Hampshire? What's your advice?
Be dedicated. You have to be dedicated to a business, similar to a marriage. If you're dedicated to your marriage, you probably can be dedicated to your business, and it's hard to balance out. But if you want, you can do it. And I don't think there's any challenge. I don't know. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, so there's not much that can challenge me.
Right.
So, you just gotta have a will. I think a lot of times people don't have enough will. They have the ideology, but not enough will to go forward. And and you just have to be. A lot of people give up. They don't have enough. You know what I'm saying? There's been hard times. But I've never given up, and it's 20 years later, I'm all right. God bless me, you know what I'm saying? So, there's downs. I'm like, oh, but
Right.
Raising 4 kids and they all prosper well. I just smile every day. So even when I shouldn't smile. So because I know it could be. Life is pretty simple, and I'm trying to make it simple. We can all be all caught up with what didn't happen or what could have happened, but what's happening?
Right.
How can we make it better? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what life's about. You can't get caught up with what everybody, like the Patriots say, they don't hear the noise. You know what I'm saying? You can't get caught up in that. I don't do a lot of social media because of that.
So how do we find you? How do we find your shop? How do we make an
find
appointment?
your shop? I have a website,
Okay.
www.leroystylesnh.com. I'm on Google. I do social media, but I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ignorant to the fact that you have to be present.
Yes, you do.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't overdo it. How's that? You know what I'm saying? I try to keep a balance. Whatever I do, I try to be balanced at, and it's worked in my life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Any last thoughts you want to share with our community?
Be the best human you can be. Really, just be the best human you can be, and the rest should follow, That's it, If I can be the best person I can be, I'm happy. you know. And I want that from everybody, to try to be your best. Because there's going to be a lot that doesn't want you to be your best. But if you keep on, you will be your best, you know. You have to adjust how good you want to be.
All right.
No, let me stop.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Okay.
And we are very honored to give you this award and so glad you have been a leader in our community.
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sandra Guzman, the third daughter of Lydia Gonzalez Santos and Miguel Rodriguez Santiago. Sandra is an Afro-Indigenous woman born in Puerto Rican, the Caribbean archipelago known by its colonized name, Puerto Rico. She's an Emmy Award-winning journalist, documentary filmmaker, and author. She is a producer of The Pieces I Am, a critically acclaimed film about the art and life of her literary mentor, Toni Morrison. Other documentaries include The Women's List and Boomer's List for the American Masters portfolio and the Latino List for HBO. The Identity film series explores gender, culture, race, sexuality, and ethnicity through a series of intimate interview portraits of trailblazing achievers. Sandra is the author of the nonfiction book, The New Latinas Bible, a feminist self-help guide for 2 generations of women. Her work explores identity, land, memory, race, sexuality, spirituality, culture, and gender. She was editor of Latina and Heart and Soul magazines. Her work has appeared on HBO, NBC News, CNN, Audubon, Univision, Telemundo, El Diario La Prensa, and PBS, among other media outlets. Now presenting Sandra Guzman.
It's the best in the east and the never west. Ever stop me, you will never ever top me. I will never let you stop.
My name is Sandra Guzman. I am the third daughter of Lydia Gonzalez Santos and Miguel Antonio Rodriguez Santiago, a veteran of the Korean War. I am an Afro-Indigenous woman born in Boriquen, the Caribbean archipelago known by its colonized name, Puerto Rico. I come from a long line of storytellers, healers, and indigenous scientists who learned by observation for millennia the ocean currents, the earth, the cosmos, and the secrets of the universe. I immigrated at the age of 9 to New Jersey during the 1970s OPEC oil crisis. My family and I are economic refugees from the oldest colony of the United States. I grew up listening to magical and marvelous stories of my people and also the horrors. My mother and her family were displaced from their lands when she was 11 years old, and she never wanted us to forget. She spent her whole life trying to get her land back, unsuccessfully. I learned about the genocidal violence from both the Spanish Crown that invaded my motherland in 1493 and the U.S. in 1898. These origin stories of unspeakable horror, slavery, linguicide, injustice, racism, sexism, and also valor, nobility, and stunning beauty is what drives me. My work explores identity, land, memory, race, gender, spirit, and culture. I am part of a generation of storytellers using my gifts and platforms to tell the beautiful stories of my communities because the images that I saw and still see of who we are so different than who we really are. My storytelling is a form of social justice. The great artist Toni Morrison, whose story I was privileged to bring to film in the documentary I helped produce, The Pieces I Am, a film that was seeded and blossomed during the first years that I lived on the seacoast of New Hampshire, taught me many things. One of them is what it means to stand at the edge, at the border, and claim it as central and let the world move to where you are. She did that with all her work, and it's what I aim to do as well. We are the stories that we have been told, and we're also the stories we tell ourselves. And at some point, those stories need to be questioned because they are not the full story. My aim is to fill that gap in the best way I can from wherever I am. It is an absolute honor for me to be celebrating Black lives today, as I do every day. This award is very special to me. When your peers, Black Lives Matter Seacoast, fighters for social justice, notice the work, it is especially meaningful. I am so proud to be part of the second annual BLM Seacoast Excellence Awards. Thank you for this honor, and congratulations to BLM Seacoast and all the members of our communities being honored tonight. Everyone, keep going. Your work matters. I wish you a blessed and wonderful award celebration, and I wish everyone a life filled with freedom and love.
Now presenting our feature performance for the BLM Seacoast Excellence Awards, The Loop. The Loop, which stands for Ladies of Opportunity and Promise, want their music to represent all one can achieve in life. Boston-based teen artists Marcia Bibbins and Mazzara Starr, ages 15 and 16, formed a contemporary urban pop and R&B duo in their teens after connecting through their childhood and school friendship, a passion for music, and a collaborative strength to share their vision on life's perceptions. The duo has embarked on an enthusiastic and committed plan to explore opportunity and promise through their music and aspiring and heartfelt activism. Their music fits across many genres and is a unique blend of pop, R&B, rap, and spoken soul that removes all judgment and creates an open mind on how people envision the world and those in it. They bring their own spin to old and new sounds with their genre-blending style, creating an artful fusion that captures emotion and drives their activism. Both songs project a vision of confidence and focus on the potential for strengthening self-worth and personal discovery. The group's debut single, See Me Beyond My Skin, uses spoken soul intertwined with the sweet vocals and harmonies to communicate the existence of racism and colorism from the perspective of today's youth. Their second release, Affirmations, expresses the importance of the self-love and positivity to everyday existence. Powerful affirmations like, I am strong, I am brilliant, I am destined for greatness, can change your world. Perspective on lovability and vision for achievement and purpose. Some artists they enjoy are Jennifer Hudson, Rihanna, Jasmine Sullivan, Aretha Franklin, and Chloe and Halle, Jacob Collier, and Usher. And now, The Loop.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcia.
And my name is Aria.
And we are The Loop. We are going to be singing an original called See Me Beyond My Skin for you all, so I hope you enjoy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you see me? Do you see me? See me? Do you see me? Do you see me? See me? See me? Do you see me? Do you see me? See me? Do you see me? See me beyond my skin. Beyond my skin, can you see me? Do you feel me? See me beyond my skin. See me beyond my skin. Can you see me? Do you feel me?
So, today you may look at me and see a young black lady with freckles distributed across my face evenly. I'm not black, most certainly not white, right? Not dark enough to be black, not light enough to be white. Y'all say black don't crack, then I mustn't be that. I'm cracked, shattered. Won't dare bother to hold my blabber, not for another year, month, day, or second.
See me beyond my skin. See me beyond my skin. Can you see me? Do you feel me? See me beyond my skin. See me beyond my skin. Can you see me? Do you feel me?
Don't you dare try Try to ostracize me because I may be lighter or brighter than you. You are me and I am you. Can't you see? Don't you see? It's in our ancestry. You're supposed to uplift me, not tear me down. Then if I turn to the other, do you ever say shame? Shame? Shame on who? Me? No, you. I need you to see me. I need you to see us. We need you to see you. See me beyond my skin. See me beyond my skin. Can you see me? Do you feel me? See me beyond my skin. See me beyond my skin. Can you see me? Do you feel me? Y'all led it up to this point. Don't regret it now. I'm just another soul in a body. You never saw me for who I really am, but now that I sit here and speak my mind, do you think what I said in the beginning was a lie? Or do you see a soul in a body? My skin is no longer a hobby. No, my skin can no longer be copied. My skin is not a threat, nor fear to you, them, us, who. I need you to see me beyond my skin, your skin, our skin. Verme más allá de mi piel. Verme más allá de mi piel. Puedes verme, me sientes. Verme más allá de mi piel. Verme más allá de mi piel. Puedes verme, me sientes. Verme más allá de mi piel. Verme más allá de mi piel. Puedes verme, me sientes. Thank you.
Summer Wheat, a 2021 BLM Seacoast Excellence Award winner, is a graduate from Peter T. Paul College of Business and Economics at the University of New Hampshire. She has always been one to speak up, but UNH is where she heavily became involved in social justice, partaking in forming the 8% Speaks movement at the university. It is her passion for justice that brought her to 350 New Hampshire, where she worked as an electoral climate organizer.
From helping organize peaceful protests to volunteering as a peacekeeper in Protest in Concord to speaking to the youth, her focus for the past year has been raising awareness for the Tigray genocide that continues to be waged on her and her family. Having lost a handful of people already and not knowing the status of her mother or youngest siblings, Samarwit continues to advocate nonstop. While fighting to end the genocide, Samarwit is doing her best to help those who are still alive, including by traveling to Sudan to help the refugees. We present to you Samarwit Silva.
If you don't love yourself, you can't love.
Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Samrawit and I'm honored to be speaking to you today. I want to first thank BLM Seacoast for putting this together again for a second year. Like, how incredible is this program? A space for people to be able to nominate and recognize people within their community that they feel is doing an incredible job. I remember last year when I was first notified that I was an award winner, I was overwhelmed with so many emotions. Being shown we see you and all the work you're doing felt like a warm, comforting, and encouraging hug. And I find the award winners tonight to be incredible humans because they were doing the work without any expectations of being recognized or awarded. When you do it because it's what feels right, that's genuine and beautiful work, and that's how real change comes, when it's done from the heart. and I'm grateful to have you all as part of my community. So I'm 24 years old and have lived in New Hampshire for the past 17 years. The first 6 years were in Tigray up until we lost the person I loved most, my loving and heavily loved father. He was the type of man the village would go to for every issue. He was the type of man that would sit and hand feed me until I was full, even though I was old enough to eat by myself. My mother was not able to raise 3 kids alone, and therefore we were put through adoption. We were at the adoption center for 9 or so months, but it felt like a lifetime. It was not a pleasant time. Then we came to good old New Hampshire in December. Mind you, I knew no English and had no idea that snow was a thing. But believe it or not, I'm grateful to be living here. I know this might come as a surprise to some, especially since the past 5 years I always said I want to leave. It's too damn cold, there's not enough diversity here, but overall, New Hampshire really helped me find the person that I am today. It helped me to be bold, assertive, and always ready to call out injustice. And by New Hampshire helped me, I mean all the struggles that come with being a Black girl in a predominantly white state. The environment forced me to grow. 5 or so years ago, I used to be the quiet girl who let everything fly, from microaggressions to blatant racism, because it seemed more convenient. But inside, I knew it felt wrong. I just didn't have the knowledge to be able to express why that was wrong. Keep in mind, I grew up in an interracial family, so not many race conversations were happening at that time, to no one's fault. And it wasn't until I attended the University of New Hampshire, a predominantly white institution, that I started embracing and protecting my Blackness. For so long, I found it easier to keep it hidden. Maybe that way, there won't be a reason to defend my identity, my Blackness. But the more I started to learn, thank goodness for the Black Student Union at UNH, the easier it got to speak out and the stronger I felt as a person. It took time, but the saying, knowledge is power, is so true. And I am forever grateful for my Black colleagues I had during my time at UNH. I mean, they were incredible people. We started the 8% Speaks movement because 8% was the population of the people of color at the university. That means 92% were white. We were heavily outnumbered, but we managed to accomplish so much. We had sit-ins, marches, blockades, and demonstrations of all sorts. The 8% spoke, and not only were we heard by the university, but elsewhere in the world. A video where my friend and I were engaging in a conversation explaining why dressing up like a Mexican for Cinco de Mayo is racist went viral nationally and internationally as well. From that point on, I participated in educational panels and many unpleasant conversations with university administrators that would have been beyond uncomfortable for the pre-college Samrawit. I went from being one of the most ignorant person of color in BSU to being voted as the president of it my junior year. It was my time in college that I really found my backbone, where I learned how to articulate and address the uncomfortable feeling inside whenever I encountered any form of injustice. And from there, it got easier in terms of being able to speak out, because it's like anything. If you do it repeatedly, it becomes a habit or second nature. That is what has allowed me to be an unapologetic and free Black woman in New Hampshire and anywhere else I go. Because being in a predominantly white state, the environment is not built for Blackness, and sure, it's not all intentional, but it's all legitimate systems in place holding you back or pressuring you to suppress your identity. And being apologetic or not embracing yourself fully is folding to the environment. So what do? You create spaces and events, much like what BLM Seacoast has done and much like what many of you here have done. Turn the uncomfortableness to the person responsible for it in the first place. Educate yourself, train yourself to speak out. The more you do it, the stronger your voice becomes. And I'm not encouraging people to always speak their mind, because sometimes something shouldn't be said out loud. But I encourage people to find a way to be able to speak out and express that feeling you get inside when you hear or see something you know is wrong, whether it's directed towards you or others. Because that same thing within you is what will keep you grounded. Listen to it and watch it grow. It'll become your strength and your light. Listening and finding my inner self has made the world of a difference. It almost feels like a completely different world. And by finding that inner self, I mean questioning the way I see and do things. Figuring out what part of my life is true to me and what part is being forced on me, some in subtle ways. And this goes for everyone else too. Once you start digging, you figure out what's good for you and what's not, and also puts you on your own path, meaning stepping away from the timeline, the guideline that society has set up for everyone, because life is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to step away from the things and people not meant for you. And that is what has kept me going the past year, the hardest year of my life, fighting to end the ongoing genocide in Tigray. And I don't know that what I would even consider what I've been doing as activism. It feels more like a literal fight for survival. I can't even say I'm fighting for me and my family, because at this point, I don't even know if any of my family is alive due to the entire region being cut off from the world. But I know inside what the right thing to do is, and that's to focus on the facts and keep fighting. Even if my efforts don't save my mother, it could save someone else's. And I say this is the hardest year of my life because I have never been tested the way that I have. On top of losing family and friends to the genocide, the harassment, threats, and assaults is beyond belief. And I've gotten my fair share of threats and harassments from my advocacy work in the United States, including being spit at, called the N-word, made memes out of, but the group of people supporting the genocide is something I was not ready for. Not only have I been physically assaulted by an entire mob, I have been told by people who I knew since my time in Ethiopia that my family and I all deserve to die. People have DM'd many of us videos of dead, burnt Tigrayan bodies saying it's barbecue time. Memes making fun of the hungry children knowing my younger siblings are there and starving. Threats to rape me. Plastering my face on posters claiming I'm a terrorist. Asking around for my address. Mind you, other activists in the US have been run over, had their businesses burned, had guns drawn on them, and other forms of assault only for speaking up against the genocide. And although I wish none of this had to happen, I can appreciate the lesson and skill it taught me, which is focus. It taught me that in any good, righteous work you do, there will be people set to distract you, to take you off track, to get you out of character. But the important thing is to always stay grounded and true to yourself. Let people's actions and words speak for themselves, and your actions for yours. And also to not give others the power to control you. If something someone says to you takes you out of character, then you have allowed them to have that much power over you. So be mindful. And I recently just got back from Sudan, where I was able to see, interact, and help the Tigrayans who fled from the genocide. This trip taught me many things, one of which being that some things can't be taken away from you. Your family, your loved ones, your home, your clothes, your arms, they can all be taken away from you. But there's something within you that no one can take away. The Tigrayans I met had so much taken away from them, but yet they were still full. For them, they were full of resilience. They had activated and watered that inner part of themselves that I was talking about earlier. Rather than revenge or anger, they shifted their energy, focus, and visions on how to rebuild their home, how to heal their people. Some there who have very little are doing all they can to create spaces for the most vulnerable, including spaces for children to dance, sing, learn martial arts, poetry, and drama. I saw people manage to find inner peace in the midst of chaos, in the midst of genocide. And they don't have many physical things, but they all have different pieces of knowledge, different experiences, different skills, And together they made the best out of the situation, out of their environment. But again, each person knew where they were needed, when they were required to lead, and when to follow and listen to others. And I thought, what a wonderful way to build community, where they know they depend on each other, so each person has to work on activating their full potential. And I think that's something we all can and should work on, accessing that inner part of ourselves, the thing that will keep us going and guide us on our darkest days. And it doesn't matter how each of us get there. It could be through religion, faith, meditation, breathing, just as long as we work on finding it. If everyone makes a collective effort to do good, no matter how small, no matter who's watching, then we'll create a community of goodness. So, to those who are being recognized tonight, as a member of your community, I appreciate the good work you've done and look forward to seeing all that you will do in your future endeavors. Thank you.
What if we could help end a genocide?
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2019 has been awarded to Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali.
Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, winner of the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize, had launched military operations in Tigray in November last year.
On November 4th, 2020, Abiy Ahmed cut off Tigray from the world by shutting down phone, internet, electricity, banks, and basic services. This genocidal war on Tigray is happening in the dark.
We have corroborated information of gross human rights violation abuses.
Alleged mass killing of several hundred people.
We are seeing very credible reports of human rights abuses and atrocities.
Abductions and sexual violence against women and girls.
This is part of a campaign that's being intentionally waged against the women of Tigray.
Sexual violence is used by soldiers as a way to fight this war.
Well, it's chaos here. The Ethiopian Red Cross has warned that 80% of the country's conflict-hit Tigray region is completely cut off from humanitarian aid.
Give us safe and unhindered access. Respect the medical doctors. Respect the health facilities.
Ethiopian troops, along with neighboring Eritrean troops, have killed thousands of civilians, including deliberate weaponized rape of women and girls. Some have called this another Yugoslavia or Rwandan genocide in the making. But today, we hope to change that. Join us in spreading awareness about what's happening in the dark, using hashtag Tigray Genocide and hashtag Free Tigray to pressure the international community to restore peace, provide relief, and ensure accountability in Tigray. 4.5 million people, or 91% of Tigrayans, are on the brink of starvation. But if we band together, we can fight this man-made humanitarian crisis and help ensure a peaceful and thriving Tigray, united as one for the good of helping others. Free Tigray. Helping Tigray is as simple as one click. Go to freetigray.com to take action.
Now presenting the featured artist for the BLM Seacoast Excellence Awards, Dua Zara. Dua Zara is a first-generation Iraqi-American artist. She was born in Baghdad, Iraq in 1991 and now lives and works in New Hampshire. She earned her BFA from the School of Museum and Fine Arts in Tufts University in Massachusetts. The mystical representation of the human experience is the essence of her visual language. Her experiences as a war refugee displaced by war influence her work and are woven together with her visionary explorations. Dua expresses her work predominantly with oil and acrylic paint on canvas. She has exhibited her work in various local shows and galleries. First, tell us the title of this piece.
Yeah, so the title of this painting is called Dunya, which in Arabic translates to the word life, and all that encompasses with it.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
First, one of the first things I noticed when I was looking at your art is the inclusion of animals. Like we have here birds, tigers, snakes. What does that mean to you? Like what does it symbolize within your work?
Yeah, so including animal totems is very important in my work. I find that, throughout my experiences, animals have visited me in my dreams and supported me with just their grace and offered me the simple truth of life, which is just to live, to exist, and be present. So their presence in my painting is as important as the animals to our existence, and I see them as extension of our family, an extension of our, species, and I love including them in the conversation with, the figure, and including them in earth, sky elements, and seeing how they integrate with the painting, with the figure.
How has your art impacted your life, or better yet, how has your life impacted your art? And how is your story reflected in your art? How can we see that?
So growing up in Baghdad, Iraq, I found myself, being creative, in my childhood as a way to cope with the chaos, of the world around me, with, the war. And so I found that art has influenced my life at a young age, and supported me and helped me and really tapped into the curiosity and the creativity, the true form of expression. And over the last 5-7 years, I have been thinking and analyzing about the process of art and what paintings, what art do I want to create. And so I've taken my life experiences to influence and impact my art, not the other way around. But it's a beautiful relationship, Art is always a conversation, an extension of our being, in my opinion. So it's never one or the other. It's always both.
Speaking of that, how has art just in general, not only to you but to the world, how has that impacted society? How is it important to society?
Yeah, so art has always existed, with the human race, in caves in all forms and in all different modalities. And I find that, recently, a lot of the problems in our society can be traced down to our lack of communication, our lack of tapping into curiosity and creativity. And I think the impact of art on society is huge and often underrated. The first thing people cut out of funding is, often art topics. So I hope to see people and society thrive on expression. After all, art is just a communication tool that is capable of impacting the world, providing social change, asking questions, recording history, recording personal experiences, through in my form, painting. So it's really crucial to society. It's one of the most important pillars of society, in my opinion.
How would you define success as an artist?
To me, oftentimes success is being able to, support yourself financially with art. And while that is important, to me, that's not the key in defining success, but the key in defining success for me is bringing the internal story or internal dialogue of that idea out in the world and in a form that resembles, that vision closely, and having the viewer, having people connect with it. So I think my idea of success is being able to connect to people and having my work touch people in some way. I think that to me is really the definition of my success in terms of I did my job here.
What does your work aim to say? Like, what's the message you're trying to portray for the audience, and how have you represented this message within your art?
Yeah, it's funny, when I start my painting, I don't think about a message, but I know that, of course, it is encompassed within the process, but with my process, I often have a vision for what I want to create, and that vision encompasses, topics, for example, in this piece, I focused on the, the transformation abilities of the human spirit after going through war and destruction, kind of symbolized in the lower piece or the lower part of the painting. And, our ability to transform, dark human emotions or really pain and suffering that is part of our human experience, and turn it and transmute it into something beautiful, something meaningful, something powerful. So I think the message in my art is to recognize the human in all of us, all the emotions that come along with the human experience, and really being able to communicate that with the viewer and get a feeling out of them. Because I think sometimes words lack the ability to portray that message. It's beyond words, if that makes sense.
So I know you mentioned using acrylics and oils, and your art style is seen including a lot of different textures and tones throughout the work. And so I was wondering, how does this impact your message and what theme you're trying to show?
Absolutely, yeah. I try to be playful. I try to be playful with encompassing really a lot of elements. I have lived, half of my life in Baghdad, Iraq, a different culture, submersed in colors, patterns, textures, and then I've lived the other half of my life here in the United States. So I always try to encompass different things and kind of pack things along the way, from, wall patterns I see, flowers, nature, that holds a lot of inspiration on its own, and kind of weave it all together to make me feel like I'm home. I'm a citizen of the planet, not necessarily attached to borders or ideologies. And I think patterns hold a lot of that. It's just an expression or a symbol of something otherworldly, something beyond our tangible world. So I always like to add them along and have them integrate and, participate with the figure and the animals.
What have critics said about your work, and how would you retaliate their comments?
I wouldn't retaliate. I really enjoy criticism. I think one of the most, criticism I've gotten is the expectation of me having to paint a certain topic or certain something just because I come from a background of war, and the expectations and the stigma around that. So, I've welcomed that, but I recognize that I also have my own unique experience. And so for me to retaliate that is just to continue doing what I think and feel is best suiting and best in alignment with my process.
Is there any last thoughts you would like to share for us?
I would like to just extend thank you for Black Lives Matter Seacoast for having me, for organizing this, and for everyone doing the work that needs to be done in the world and taking care of their corner.
Yes, thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing your pieces. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
BLM Seacoast strives to bring education to the community by providing trainings within diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. We provide trainings for organizations, schools, and other local groups. Our programs aim to provide concrete ways to engage in respectful and positive interactions in all settings while reducing discrimination and prejudice based on factors such as gender, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, age, religion, physical and mental ability, and socioeconomic status. Trainings are actually completed in person or virtually. If you would like to request a training, please visit our website.
Hi, I'm Tana Clues, CEO of the New Hampshire Women's Foundation. The Women's Foundation is a statewide community foundation investing in women and girls in the Granite State through research, education, advocacy, and grant making. On behalf of the foundation, I want to congratulate all of tonight's award winners. You are an inspiration to all of us and make the Seacoast and our state better. And thank you to Black Lives Matter Seacoast, not just for bringing us together tonight to celebrate these amazing leaders, but also for your ongoing work to build community and remind us of our shared values. Throughout the pandemic, the Women's Foundation has put our values into action. Those values include empowerment, equity and justice, bold and courageous leadership, and collaboration. A sample of this work and these values is the launch of our new fund next month, our Women and Girls of Color Fund. We know that funding to organizations serving women and girls receive only 1.6% of total philanthropic dollars, yet organizations serving women and girls of color receive less than 0.5%, in fact. We know this historic marginalization of our BIPOC community must be met with an intentional, intersectional, and proactive response. We've created this fund to remove barriers to philanthropy and to provide seed money for new and emerging programs led by and benefiting women and girls of color in New Hampshire. While organizations serving women and girls of color can always apply for any and all of our grant-making programs, this new fund will provide an infusion of dollars with a faster turnaround time in order to jumpstart new ideas and solutions. A dedicated group of advisors has been meeting regularly to establish this fund, which will issue grants each quarter. We are grateful for their support. Those advisors include the Honorable Melanie Levesque, Rashida Mohammed, Kile Adumene, the Honorable Jackie Weatherspoon, Zib Carell, Dan Weeks, and Sindiso Mincy Weeks. You can learn more about this fund and our work at nhwomensfoundation.org. Thank you.
Sandy Clark Katie, resident of New Hampshire by way of New York, upstate that is, second oldest of 10 children, wife, mother of 2 kings, stepmom, and combined grandmother of 5. She holds a BA from Elmira College, Elmira, New York. Using her degree in theater, Sandy has been blessed to work here in the area at professional and community theaters. Sandy wanted to see and be a part of more diverse stage presence. She wanted to see actors, singers, and musicians of color represented locally in the theater scene. So in 2004, she began the first Seacoast Black female-owned theater production company, Jukwa Mazoa. Seacoast Sandy, as some refer to her as, has produced, directed, performed, and created many productions for a stage in New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts. She's the creator of Set the House on Fire, a gospel concert celebrating the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Sandy is happiest when she's busy, a lady that doesn't really know the word no. Sandy serves as board president for the nonprofit organization Seacoast African American Cultural Center. She is excited by learning, creating, growing as a person, being a role model, advocate, Christian, and an activist. She loves her church, North Star AME Zion Church, located in Newington, New Hampshire, where she serves as a missionary, deaconess, choir member, and shares Black history as often as possible as part of her Sunday duties as church announcements and greeter. Recently, she retired and she needed one more thing to do, so she partnered up in November 2021 with her friend, Sisters in Charge, and opened another Black female-owned business, 2 Clark Specialty Gifts. Now presenting Sandy Clark Katie.
I do what I do, not for the glory or the praise. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate an occasional pat on the back. However, I'm involved with the Seacoast community for the future of our young folks, with hopes to inspire them and to motivate them. I want the young people to have an example of someone that looks like them. As a child in school, I always wondered, Didn't my people do anything to contribute to this country? I had to learn for myself that we did. Black people are mighty people, a special people, and that we contributed a great deal to not only our communities, but the world. I think about Dr. King. I was 14, almost 15 years old when his life was taken. Let me take you back a bit. I was brought up kind of sheltered, being one of 10 children. Our mother was very protective. Her protectiveness was not appreciated until we were older and began to see the world. I was raised in a community in upstate New York where there really wasn't a racial divide. You looked around and there was many as blacks as whites. Who you were by your skin color really didn't matter until I went to high school. Our home caught on fire, and as children we found ourselves separated and living with various family members. It was called survival. We found out that our parents couldn't find an apartment because of the family size, but also because we were black and labeled. Comments like, "They will destroy the property. They can't move in this neighborhood. There's just too many of them." So our dad decided it was time to buy a home so no one could tell him no anymore. Well, Dad moved us to an all-white area of the next town over. Culture shock, to say the least. That is when I realized we looked different. Our family was not readily accepted, but we dug in our heels and we said we will not be moved. We are here to stay. So if you have a problem with the color of our skin, then shame on you. We are here to stay. Now fast forward to many years later, I ended up in New Hampshire to take care of my grandmother, who was like my second mom. Culture shock yet again. Through my desire to be around more people of color, I met a friend who said, "You need to come to Portsmouth and hang out." Pease Air Force Base was active then, so I began to meet more families of color. Ah, how good it felt not to be the only person of color in the room. I've told this many times of why Portsmouth. My first trip here was on a lightly foggy night, and as I walked around town, I heard the clubs booming with great music. As I walked, I listened to jazz in one club and blues and funk in another. The air was full of music. Then my walk led me to Prescott Park and look out over the pier, seeing the boats and the water. I remember taking a deep breath and exhaled that salt-filled air. I knew in my heart this could be the place for me to call home. The universe has its way of placing you where you're supposed to be. Heard my thoughts, and a few years later, I met my now husband. And guess where he lived? Yep, on the Seacoast. I felt this emptiness, something that I grew up with, because I always felt a pull to be involved, to do more for my people, to learn more and to do more regarding the accomplishments of Black people. Moving to the Seacoast was a bit of a cultural shock as well. That's when I decided to become involved with Black organizations so I could be around and inspired by people of color. My first involvement was with the local NAACP. I was thrilled because I met Black people from all walks of life, young and older, and their goal was to tackle, support, and to be an advocate for racial injustice. My circle grew, and I became involved with the Seacoast African American Cultural Center, a powerhouse of strong Black men and women, of which I am proud to be president of today. I was blown away by the fact that SAC was founded by a Black woman, a Black teacher. The involvement with Seacoast African American Cultural Center led to the Seacoast Martin Luther King Coalition. As I said, I always felt this emptiness from childhood that I should and could be doing more, which I now know that empty feeling was social change. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to make a difference. My first step was creating the Set the House on Fire gospel concert, celebrating the life and dreams of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for many reasons. One, when I was growing up, I wanted to go on the bus to march on Washington. Although I didn't quite understand it all, I was 10 years old, but I felt a pull. You remember I said my mom was very protective, so I was not able to go on that bus that was leaving Elmira, New York to march on Washington. My mom understood my desire, but she felt that it may not be a safe place for me. Even though Dr. King stood for nonviolence, his marches were not always peaceful, as we all know. The other reason was I liked New Hampshire. Actually, I loved New Hampshire because of its natural beauty, its resources, the education system for my children. But I also was embarrassed that I lived in this beautiful state that did not recognize or honor Dr. King. So because of my love of music and theater, I felt I could make a difference and I would do what New Hampshire wasn't doing and honor Dr. King. In 1999, Black History Month, I held the first annual Set the House on Fire gospel concert. Still ashamed that New Hampshire was the last state to name the holiday after Dr. King. In 2000, I began to fill the emptiness by celebrating and honoring Dr. King with music, song, and words of inspiration on his birthday. That theme has carried on for the past 23 years. Unfortunately for 2022, I was not able to present my dream due to COVID. Plans to present a gospel concert will happen later this year. I also saw the lack of diversity on the Seacoast and in New Hampshire in general with theater. My degree is in theater, and at that time, I was working at a theater, so I filled another void. I created my theater company called Jukwa Mazo. The full name is Jukwa Mazo Vivico, which is Swahili. Jukwa means stage production, and Vivico means stages of a journey. I experienced doubt that a Black woman could not start a theater in New Hampshire. Comments like, "Do you think she's racist?" Because I wanted to produce Black shows. I wanted to again fill a void. Although I've yet to own my own building, keyword being yet, I would mount productions, great productions, wherever I could negotiate a stage to use. My theater focus was to present plays for people of color and women, which I did from the ground up with no money and a credit card. I produced, directed, performed, designed, made costumes, did the marketing, whatever it took to get the job done. I staged productions in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Maine, and of course, family reunions. I took a chance and did what I felt was needed and necessary. In 2021, I filled another void. That was to be a store lady, a Black owner of a retail business. I convinced a friend, which it didn't take too much convincing, to partner up with me on the idea of a pop-up gift shop. Not just any gift shop, but a specialty shop. Hence, Two Clark Specialty Gifts was born. We sell primarily Black product items that can't be found on the Seacoast. The goal is to add Black hair care to our gift shop, and who knows, maybe a brick and mortar. Today, being recognized for my contributions to the Seacoast and New Hampshire by Black Lives Matter Seacoast Excellence Award is truly an honor and was not expected. Not just for gratification of being recognized, it's for the future, so that years from now, someone looks back and says, "She looks like me, and she made a difference, so can I." I'm Seacoast Sandy, and I say it loud. I'm Black, and I'm proud. Imagine a vision of the future in which the stains of our collective past do not paint the present. Imagine a culture unencumbered by the weight of oppressive structures meant to divide and suppress.
Imagine a society in which people of color, the African diaspora, are not tokenized or seen as other. This is a vision of Afrofuturism. A vision of the future in which people of African descent not only have a place in, but are synonymous with the progress and achievement of the human race. Through art, science, philosophy, and exploration, they lead our world forward.
It is in this vision we wish to explore what the contributions of the entire body of the human race can yield. It is in this vision that we ask you to create.
Najee A. Brown can be described as nothing else than a young entrepreneur. After starting his media company, Mindless Thoughts, in 2011, he has helped provide numerous resources to aspiring artists. In addition to running his own media and arts company, Najee also produced his own music and has danced on every stage from the Apollo to Carnegie Hall. Most recently, Najee wrote and produced his play, The Bus Stop, which sold out 6 times in New York City and recently featured at the Seacoast Rep last summer. He co-wrote and directed the musical Glimmerings of Hope, which premiered in New York City and toured Michigan in the spring of 2019. He also directed and choreographed the award-winning musical Henry Box Brown Musical Journey in Edinburgh, Scotland in the summer of 2019. Brown oversees the Soul series at Seacoast Repertory Theater, which will focus on presenting Black, Indigenous, and people of color narratives. Stokely and Martin and Nevaeh's Brother are his newest plays to premiere at Seacoast Repertory Theater. Most recently, Najee founded his own theater company called Theater for the People. Theater for the People is a BIPOC-produced touring theater company based in New England. Through curating thought-provoking plays accompanied by dialogue spaces, he seeks to build community through the pursuit of oneness and diversity. I present to you, Najee Brown.
Thank you guys for having me today. This is such an honor and a privilege. I'm new to the community. I've only been here for 2.5 years, but in the 2.5 years that I've been here, I've watched this community grow into a spectacular place. And it's only because you guys had the capacity to be what you are today all along. But I didn't want to take the time to talk about me and Theater for the People. I know that's great. There are so many people here and that have been here the whole time and have been doing the work. And I wanted to take the moment and use my time to shout them out. I remember the 90s when we used to have acceptance speeches. They used to shout out a lot of people. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take it back for a minute. So shout out to God first, because that's the head of my life. And without him, I wouldn't be here today. I want to shout out next Clifton and Tanisha and the whole BLM Seacoast family for the work that they're doing in the community. Since you've been here, this place has never been the same. Reverend Bob Thompson, he had the privilege of officiating the ceremony for me and my wife, and he's been here for such a long time. And every time he walks into the room, he brings a smile to wherever he is. Sandy Clark, man, such a dynamic woman. Just incredible mentor of mine, a friend of mine, and I love her dearly. And the entire board of the Seacoast African American Cultural Center, I see you, I'm here with you, and I have the privilege of serving with you, so thank you. My Greenacre Baha'i family, Ed, Dave, Jessica, Robert, Frank, Seaside, Bonnie, and Tom. That's not the Jackson 5, it's everyone that works at Greenacre. I came here basically homeless, and you guys welcomed me in and took me in and made this place my home, and I love you and I thank you for that. Jacqueline Ward and Stephanie Robinson, you guys are dope. Chief Elliot Moya, the chief of police at the Elliott Police Department, I see you. You are doing incredible work with your police department. Anthony and Brenda and the rest of the team at the block. Check them out. They are doing an amazing job with the community. Anthony happens to be an amazing person. He introduced me to my wife and a young entrepreneur like myself. So please support them. Kathleen and Brian, they're the ones that got me my job at the Seacoast Rep. I love Kathleen. She's a fundraising queen. She out here making that money. And shout outs to her business too. Evan Mallett and Black Trumpet, you are a #1 supporter of the BIPOC community, and I see you and I thank you. Joe Kelly, the first Black assistant mayor of Portsmouth, I see you. You are doing excellent work and you are Black History Today. And Romney, and what you're doing with White People Challenging Racism, again with Robert Shapiro, man, thank you. Thank you for spreading the good word and the good message and helping white people in this community to be allies and supporter of the BIPOC movement. Beth Tanner, thank you for your work. Genevieve and the Elephant in the Room series, thank you for your work with New Hampshire Theater Project. I appreciate you. You've been doing the work for a while. Michael from Berwick, who happens to be one of the board members from Theater for the People. Man, you are doing a phenomenal work with the parents and students at Berwick Academy. I see you and I thank you too. Stu Diaz with the Soggy Poor Boys. Man, Stu, you've become one of my closest friends out here. You are another man of color who's doing great work. You have a genius mind and creativity. Thank you. Courtney and Jared Daniels, I see you. You're doing great work. I love it. All the Black Lives Matter chapters in the area, in the world, shout outs to you. You are doing amazing work. You are Black History Today. Jerry Ann and the Black Heritage Trail, I see you. You're doing amazing work. Reverend Jeff, I see you. Kevin Wade Mitchell, I see you. LaToya, I see you. My best barber in the world, James St. Pierre and his daughter Maya, shine at the St. Pierre Salon in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I see you. SOS Recovery, I see you. Every Black business owner in the Seacoast region, I see you. Cal and Roline, I see you. You've been here forever. You are Black History Today. I see you. Joni and Al Lincoln, who has been mentors to me and my wife. I see you. My Baha'i family, my old pastor A.R. Bernard, and the entire Christian Cultural Center family that instilled in me my Blackness and to be proud of who I am and taught me Black history when it wasn't popular. I see you and I thank you. My mentor Jeff Albert, who's solely responsible for bringing me to this area when I was lost and didn't know where I was going to go. He took me to Elliott, Maine and said, this would be good for you, grow here. And I thank you for taking a chance on me and loving me and working with me to this day, and I appreciate you. And of course, my beautiful wife. There is none like you, and there will never be. You helped make this area a home for me, and your love for dismantling white supremacy and studying the way you do encourages me to be a better man. And I will continue to work and slave and do whatever I got to do to make you happy. And I appreciate you so much. To this whole community, because of who you are and because of what you do, you have encouraged me and inspired me to believe in humanity once more. And I'm so grateful for that. This is only the very, very beginning of this community. And if we can change the Northeast region of the United States of America, a place that didn't believe that racism exists, I bet you we can change this whole country. And like I said in Stokely and Martin, once America sees its struggles and its problems and takes it head on, we can change the world. The whole world sees America as an example. We really have to look in ourselves to see where we are wrong and where we are right. And once we do that, man, this entire world can find peace. I thank you for allowing me to be here today, and I hope to do work that will make you proud with Theater for the People and whatever I'm a part of. I just want to make you all proud, and I appreciate you, and thank you again, Black Lives Matter Seacoast. And shout outs to every person that got this award today. I looked at that list, and every person deserves it. And shout outs to the ones that got it last year too. I appreciate you, and thank you, and I'll see you again soon.
This next song we will be singing is called Be Free. It's an original, followed by Someday We'll All Be Free by Donny Hathaway, featuring DJ on acoustic guitar.
I wanna be so free, I wanna live free, now that my mind's free. Right now. I wanna be free, I wanna live free, now
heavy-hearted, broken-minded, gotta carry the weight. Know this pain's been excruciating. I know you've been losing patience, but what you need is to be free. Relieve your soul from all the grief. Don't be scared to free yourself. Clear your mind from what holds you back. I feel so free right now. Now that my mind's free, right now. I wanna be free. I wanna live free. Now that my mind's so me right now. Don't you know that you don't have to stay the same? You can just change your ways. Open your mind to change. Oh, be who you are. Stop all your shields and trying to hide all your flaws. Just open your arms. Don't be scared to free yourself. Clear your mind from what holds you back. Be free. I feel so free right now. Now that my mind's free right now. I wanna be free. I wanna live free. Now that my mind's free right now. I wanna be free. I wanna live free. Now that my mind's free. I wanna be free. I wanna live free. Now that my mind's free. Me right now. Be free. 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 I wanna be free. I wanna live free. I wanna be free. Now that my mind's free, I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. Keep your self-respect, your manly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep your stride. Never mind your fears. Brighter days will soon be near. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Yeah.
We want to thank everyone for watching tonight, and we also thank everyone who has supported us since we began in July 2020. We are proud to have this platform to recognize all of these amazing Black, Brown, and Indigenous leaders of the Seacoast.
Use this show as your first step in learning more about Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. Follow the folks we spotlighted tonight and show your support. Don't use February as your only time to expand your knowledge on Black history. Black history is American history. If you would like to support BLM Seacoast, a 501c3 nonprofit organization in any capacity, from volunteering to donating, please visit our website, www.blmseacoast.com.
Thank you to Somersworth Career Technical Center for giving us this amazing space to create with. Thank you to our performers, artists, and speakers. Congratulations to all of our award winners from this year, and we continue to celebrate those who won last year.
We leave you with this thought from Michelle Obama. History can show us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. How are you showing your courage and hope?
If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. It's the best, it's the best, it's the best, it's the best. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. It's the best, it's the best in the east and the west. Never ever stop me, you will never ever top me. I will never let you stop my movement on. Never ever stop me, you will never ever top me. I will never let you stop my movement on. I am the greatest, I am amazing, I am a legend. Brown skin's a blessing, blessing. Come join the quest in love. I am the greatest, I am amazing, I am a legend. Brown skin's a blessing, blessing. Come join the quest in love. Moving on, moving on. Can't take me down, take me down. Moving on, can't take me down. Moving on, can't take me down, take me down. Moving on, can't take me down. You couldn't take me down if you wanted to. Cause even when I'm down, my self-love is full. I'm really good, sometimes misunderstood. My heart has seen it all, can't knock me cause I'm strong. My mind is marvelous, confidence is my countenance, keeping me right on top of it. You best believe I'll never quit. And when it's tough, I remember what I'm made of. I'm a queen, best believe I got a whole lot of self-love. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. It's the best, it's the best, it's the best, it's the best. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love. It's the best, it's the best in the east and the west. Never ever stop me, you will never ever top me. I will never let you stop my movement on. Never ever stop me, you will never ever top me. I will never let you stop my movement on. I am the greatest, I am amazing, I am a legend. Brown skin's a blessing, blessing. Come join the quest in love. I am the greatest, I am amazing, I am a legend. Brown skin's a blessing, blessing. Come join the quest in love. Moving on, can't take me down, take me down. Moving on, can't take me down. Moving on, can't take me down, take me down. Moving on, can't take me down. You couldn't take me down if you wanted to. Cause even when I'm down, my self-love is full. I'm really good, sometimes misunderstood. My heart has seen it all, can't knock me cause I'm strong. My mind is marvelous, confidence is my countenance, keeping me right on top of it. You best believe I'll never quit. And when it's tough, I remember what I'm made of. I'm a queen, best believe I got a whole lot of self-love. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Self-love is the best love.